Welcome to our third part of our video series, Do the Research, Take the Journey. In this video, we will model the step-by-step process you can take to evaluate your own resources.
In this video, we will evaluate a lesson plan titled Colorful Moose Art, inspired by the work of John Nieto. In preparing for this presentation, we did a Google search for Native American lesson plans. This lesson plan is one of the results we came up with. We felt it would be a good exercise for us to evaluate this source to decide if it was something we want to use in our classroom.
Before we begin, you will want to pull up this resource in a separate tab or browser on your computer. Visit http://www.nativeamericanactivities.com/drawing.html to access the source.
Also, the step-by-step process we use to evaluate this resource is found on the handout titled Evaluating Resources for Cultural Responsiveness, which accompanies this film. Feel free to download this PDF and follow along as well.
Again, as with the previous two videos, this portion of our series was filmed during a live workshop with teachers. It occurred during the pandemic, and the teachers were masked. The presenters remained socially distanced for safety. So, the first thing we're going to look at is who is the creator? Who's the author, illustrator, organization? What is their background and experience? So, if you have the website open, I'm going to go right here again so you can see that. Or if you're looking at the handouts, see what you can find. So, looking at that, what can you find about the author of this lesson plan? You're helping us evaluate this source.
It just says I taught for 27 years, classroom experience in Native American schools but it doesn't say.
So she has experience teaching Native Americans. Yeah. Anything else that you find?
She's from Butler, Wisconsin.
So she's from Butler, Wisconsin, so she's working with the tribal nations in the Midwest. Okay, we'll go on to this next one.
So the next one is, what is the creator's connection to the tribe? What positions are they speaking from? Do they describe how they did their research? In what you're able to see there, do we find out any information about her connection? You brought up that she has worked 27 years with Native American communities. To me, that's pretty neat. There is a connection there. What position is she speaking from? Well, we keep saying she. Is it a
It's a
woman?
she. Yeah.
So she's speaking from a female position. She's also speaking from what? How about a teacher position? She's speaking from a place where she's actually worked with Native people. Is there anywhere she actually gives her purpose or her intent, her reasons for writing?
Yeah, most of are inspired by Native American books written by Native American authors. So she's not Native American,
She's not, yeah.
but she have contact with students and people who are Native American.
Okay, so how do you feel about that? Okay, that it's looking okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so what is the purpose for creating the source? Why did she create these lesson plans? Yeah.
It says that she wants to bridge culture.
Bridge culture, bringing it between homes and schools. So she's trying to connect students that she's teaching their culture with the school, what she's teaching in school. Another one I think that is on there, it says that she wants to highlight Native American authors and their work, like Native American works.
I also want, let's look for authenticity and accuracy. Go to original sources, look for citations, cross-references. Other sources, look for continuity of tribal representation, tribal-specific dress, language, and setting. So, should we go to John Nieto there now, or do we wait?
Let's go to him right now, but we also, I don't know if you noticed in the lesson plan, she references a specific book.
She does reference a specific
That-
book, and
that
the
her-
book is right in front of you. And this book, she says that she likes to highlight Native American authors. And so it's important that we also look at this author. This author is who? Joseph Bruach. Do any of you know Joseph Bruach? Do you know of any of his work? Have any of you read Code Talker? That's Joseph Bruach. Have any of you read Skeleton Man? That's Joseph Bruach. And so, who is Joseph Bruach? I don't know. I love to look at the front cover of the book or even the back cover. I'm going to see if I can learn anything about Joseph Bruach. Joseph Bruach is a world-renowned Native author and storyteller who has written more than 120 books for both children and adults. His work is heavily influenced by his Abenaki ancestry, and he's worked extensively with other family members on projects involving the preservation of Abenaki culture and language. I can keep reading, but that's a pretty good selling point there. That she really did go to a Native artist. And she said that her work is based on Joseph Bruach and also John Nieto.
John Nieto. So what do we know about John Nieto? So in the lesson plan, it has like a link for his website. We also have included like Wikipedia information. What do we know about him?
Was an American contemporary artist who concentrated on Native American themes, including Native American tribal representative as well as indigenous wildlife.
So he represents Native American life in his paintings. What else do we know about him?
Has anybody gone to his website? Should you go to his website before you show the website to your children?
Always. Sure should. There's a whole section on nudes.
Absolutely. When you go to John Nieto, he is an artist. And you want to make sure that you are previewing what's there before you go.
So in the Wikipedia article, it says that he actually is I don't have it in front of me. Says he's Apache, a certain kind of
Mescalero Apache.
Mescalero Apache. So he is Native American too. Now, think about this. Where do the Apaches live? They live in the southwest. Where do the Abenaki people live? They live in the northeast. So in this lesson plan, we're going to be looking more at if we are looking for specificity and how she teaches things, different things that go along with this.
So, is the resource specific enough to provide understanding? Are there vague or inaccurate references that cause confusion? Is there any confusion on your part?
Just looking at the lesson plan.
It's a visual arts lesson plan. She's asking the children to look at John Nieto images and use their artwork kind of patterned after his work. Well, I don't really see any inaccuracies. And she has...
The lesson plan is really vague though.
It is really vague. I don't know, I'm wondering if this lesson plan is similar to the very first experience you gave them.
Yeah, where it's
With Dom and Doya.
I wonder if she's providing the context or if she's just reading the book, just showing the artwork. I don't know. It doesn't say talk about the Abenaki people. It doesn't say talk about the Apache people. So she might do it.
So what would you do? I mean, she's got good authors. She's got a great artist. She's got a fairly good lesson plan. What can you do to move it over to the kind of lesson that Emily did, the second experience you had with Dom and Doya?
Just these 2 minutes of research. Do you already have more information you could share with your students? Yeah.
Yes.
So we want to make sure, so on this one, watch for stereotypes, oversimplification, and homogenization. If we don't teach that Joseph Bruach is Abenaki and that John Nieto is Apache, we are starting to homogenize. Oh, look, this is a Native American lesson. where they're completely different cultures. And yes, we're talking about two different cultures. We're talking about a story from one culture, and we're talking about an art form that was created by a man from a different culture.
Okay. Does the source bring Native Americans into the present, or does it represent Native Americans as only historical groups? Well, if you read The Hunter's Promise, that is in the past. That is a wonderful story that's told in Abenaki culture. But Joseph Bruach lives now. He's in the present, and so is John Nieto. So I would say yes, she does bring them. In fact, it's a very good bridge. She talks about the past, but also talks about the present.
Okay, and then the last thing, that looking at a resource, when you're evaluating it, you want to be cautious with casual ceremonial descriptions and or references to deity. Be aware that the non-native performance of ceremonial music or dances is usually not allowed or may require prior approval from official cultural tribal representatives. So we wanted to think about this a little bit in the artwork that she's choosing to have the students do. I really loved that she chose to focus on doing a masterwork study rather than doing Native American style artwork. Mm-hmm. Because so much of Native American, different cultures, their artwork is sacred. The sand painting of the Navajos is sacred. It shouldn't be copied. The totem poles of the Tinklevet up in
the Tinklet,
yeah, are sacred and they shouldn't be copied. The masks of the False Face Society, the Iroquois, they're sacred and they shouldn't be copied. So instead of copying something that's sacred, she's having them look at a masterwork, an artist style who is Native American, but they're looking and getting inspiration from an art style rather than a sacred work. Does that make sense? Okay, so we also, as we're doing this, we want to make sure that when you're doing research, your word choice really does matter. So those of you who do have internet access, I want you to just type in really fast into Google, Native American legends, and tell me what type of things come up. How many would you feel confident using them? How many?
Well, we've got a couple in our Journeys books. I mean, the Beyal that we use in class that I teach every year, and now I'm thinking, okay, is this appropriate? Like, I have no idea.
So what you can do, could you look at, just like I did with the Reader's Theater, Google, where does this come from?
Yeah.
What is just this much background makes it so much, so it's not just a Native American story. It is so we're gonna go, like here, we have, when I Googled that, I had 78 million responses.
Hits.
Hits, yeah. So on that, that's way too much. I feel overwhelmed. I'm like, how am I even gonna research this? And how do I feel confident? So I'm going to pick one of the tribal groups in Utah and just research, instead of doing Native American legends, put in Paiute legends. Tell me how your search changes.
Well, I get one that it says, as told by Wilson Weiwa, book by Wilson Weiwa. So it's already citing who.
It's citing a person. Who does that one say it's about, though?
It's a legend of the Northern Paiute.
Northern Paiute. We don't have any Northern Paiute in Utah. The Northern Paiute live in Nevada and Oregon. So we probably need to go a little bit more specific so we're not getting Northern Paiute in our search.
I'm sure that's a wonderful legend.
I'm sure it is.
But we want Southern Paiute.
We want Southern Paiute to go with teaching the tribal nations in Utah. So what happens when you search Southern Paiute legends? Anything that you see popping out to you? One thing I noticed, I started seeing more .gov, more .edu rather than .com, the more specific I got. And because I've done research, I know that there are 5 bands within the Southern Paiutes in Utah. So if I pick one of them, the Shivwits, Shivwits, the Shivwits Paiute legends, I'm gonna get something really specific. And on this, I actually found, I don't know if it will come up for you, I found a resource that was like typewritten in 1942 of like several Shivwitz legends. And so automatically it's giving me something that I feel is coming from people, not just like a group. And then it has resources, it has names where we can go. But sometimes if you go too specific, you also limit what you're able to find. So just recognize that your word choice really does matter. So as you're finding resources, there are so many ways that we can find resources. So we've talked about almost all of these tonight. Social media, I want to just tell you. So who was talking about utilization? In one of my hoop dance lessons, we were talking about that, and I wanted to put in a modern perspective. So I went on Facebook, and I found a competition of women. It's called Lala. They Lala. What Brenda did. So I went and found it so I could link that. So we had that modern, that social media, that indigenous perspective right now. We've talked about how to Google, we just did that. We've looked at organization websites. Remember how we found the Northern Cherokee Nation and how you can look and see if it's a reputable site. We've looked at a book, looking at just the back cover, or the Native American Indian Literacy Project, the Greedy Porcupine. Those are great resources. People, community members like Michelle Reyes, who lives in the community, parents of students in your schools. There are so many Native Americans in schools, and you ask their parents, they are an authentic voice you can go to. Native artists like Michaela, who danced, or NACI, who's going to be dancing for us in a little bit. Or us. I mean, I'm not Native, but I've done a lot of research, and I'm happy to share what research I have done. Brenda is Native. She can connect us with lots of people. So just be aware that there are lots of resources, and it doesn't have to take a lot of time.
So in the end, we want to end with this, and we want to give you maybe some homework or some thought, or maybe what you can do. Select a resource, or your group might want to use in one of your classrooms, maybe your team. What would you like to use? Use the handout to guide your evaluation. Your journeys, stories, it's a perfect place to start. Look and see how accurate they are. Share what you're able to find in a few minutes spent researching. Research doesn't have to take a long time. And what would your next steps be? Go broad, go deep, be willing to step forward and take the time.
So we want to go right here, using resources, really fast. So we want to avoid appropriation. So as we're doing this, we're not going to try and make it our own.
No.
We would give credit, reference the source. We would present it as the individual or culture would want it to be presented. So we would need to know if these stories, if there's a certain time of year they needed to be presented, if there's only certain people that are supposed to tell them, and that's what part of the research is. And if you feel like there's a really great reason to use it, then have us ask the Shivwitz band. And if they say no, then honor the no. And if they say yes, then celebrate that they say yes.
What if she goes to the journeys lesson and she finds something that's inappropriate or it's inadequate? Not that I'm saying it is, but what if once she's done the research and she sees, this just isn't fitting? Well, don't feel guilty for having to use a poor resource in the past. With more information, you make different choices. I've had to replace some books that I have dearly loved, but I was willing to let go of them because I was able to gather more information. Okay, questions? Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for being willing to start your research journey with us. We have both learned so much from our experiences and hope that it has been beneficial for you as well.
The more we learn and understand, the richer the understanding of our students will be. To quote Sitting Bull, a wise Lakota chief, let us put our minds together and see what kind of life we can make for our children.